When 8-year-old Lily sat at the small wooden table beside the frosted window, she pressed her pencil so firmly to the paper that her little hand trembled. Outside, the early December wind whistled fiercely, rattling the loose panes of their old apartment. She glanced once at her mother, Emma, who was asleep on the couch with an arm draped over her face, exhausted after her third double shift at the diner. The dim glow from the single lamp softened the deep shadows beneath Emma's eyes, but Lily knew her mom was more tired than she ever admitted. Lily swallowed hard and turned back to her letter. She had written to Santa every year, but this time was different. This time she wasn't writing to the red-suited man at the North Pole. Instead, she was writing to Santa at the corner office, a phrase she had overheard at school when her teacher joked that the CEO of Harrington Industries practically had magical power. Lily didn't know much about CEOs, except that they were rich and busy, and that Harrington Industries headquarters, its tall glass building, stood right at the center of the city like a shimmering giant. She had never seen anyone who worked on the top floors, but she imagined they must be close enough to the sky for their mail to reach Santa faster. So she addressed the envelope carefully. Santa at the corner office, Harrington Tower, downtown. Her letter wasn't long. She didn't ask for toys or glittery dresses or dolls like other children in her class. What she wrote was simple. Dear Santa, my mom works very hard. She smiles for me but cries at night when she thinks I'm asleep. Can you please help her smile again? I don't need toys. I just want her to not be so tired. We miss laughing together. Love, Lily. She folded the page gently, slipped it into an envelope, and kissed the corner before sealing it. She hoped Santa, or whoever worked in that shiny office, would understand. The next morning, Lily tucked the letter into her coat pocket and headed to school. On the way, she stopped beside the bright red mailbox on the corner, stood on her tiptoes, and pushed the envelope through the slot. For a moment she wondered if it would disappear, like a wish whispered into the air, but the sound of the paper slipping inside reassured her. Her message was on its way. Miles away, in the very building Lily had imagined, widowed CEO Daniel Harrington sat in his corner office, his fingers pressed against the bridge of his nose. The city skyline stretched endlessly beyond the floor-to-ceiling windows, but he barely noticed it. His days had blurred together. Meetings, reports, decisions, but none of them filled the hollow ache left after losing his wife 2 years earlier. He had thrown himself into work, not because he loved it, but because it was the only thing that kept the grief from swallowing him whole. His assistant, Margaret, stepped into the office with a small stack of envelopes. Holiday mail from the public, she said gently. Some are charity requests. Thought you might want to see them. Daniel nodded absently, not really listening. But as he flipped through the letters, a small white envelope caught his eye. The handwriting on it was crooked, innocent, childlike. Santa at the corner office, it read. He raised a brow, then opened it slowly. By the time he finished reading Lily's words, Daniel felt something in his chest tighten painfully, an emotion he had struggled to feel in months. Empathy, pulled from the depths of shared loneliness. He read the letter again, and again, each time lingering on the line, she smiles for me but cries at night. He could almost see them. A tired mother fighting to stay strong, a child wise beyond her years trying to carry burdens too heavy for small shoulders. He stood, abruptly. Margaret, get me the address this was mailed from, he said, his voice steadier than he felt. I want to visit. Margaret blinked, stunned. Sir, you want to go personally? Yes, he replied simply. Tonight. The knock on the apartment door came just after sunset. Emma, who was preparing a simple dinner of soup and rice, nearly jumped at the unexpected sound. Very few people visited them. She quickly wiped her hands on a towel, crossed the small living room, and opened the door cautiously. Standing in the dimly lit hallway was a tall man in a dark coat, his breath misting in the cold air. He held a small envelope in his hand and looked almost nervous. Good evening, he said warmly. Are you Emma Parker? She hesitated. Yes, can I help you? Daniel cleared his throat. My name is Daniel Harrington. He paused, noticing the flicker of recognition in her eyes. People rarely saw him outside suits, outside glossy magazine profiles, outside the world of wealth he often felt trapped in. I'm here because of a letter. Emma's confusion deepened. A letter. Just then, Lily peeked from behind her mother's leg, her big brown eyes widening when she recognized the envelope he held. Her breath caught. "Mom, that's mine." Emma looked between the two of them, and panic flashed across her face. "Lily, what letter? What did you send?" Daniel slowly opened the envelope, pulling out the paper with Lily's familiar handwriting. "She wrote to Santa. Or rather, to me." His voice softened. "She asked for help, not for herself, but for you." Emma's face went pale. Her hand trembled against the doorframe. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, her voice breaking. "She shouldn't have bothered anyone." "She didn't bother me," Daniel interrupted gently. "In fact, she reminded me of something important. Something I lost along the way." Emma blinked rapidly, overwhelmed. "Why would a CEO come to our door?" He looked at Lily, then back at Emma. "Because sometimes the most important letters are the ones that don't ask for anything money can buy." Daniel stepped inside at Emma's hesitant invitation. The apartment was small, but warm, lived in, and filled with signs of quiet struggle: a cracked lamp, a patched couch, a little drawing pin to the fridge with a bent magnet. As Emma poured tea, Daniel spoke softly with Lily, asking about school, her friends, her favorite stories. She answered shyly at first, but quickly warmed to him, her innocence melting the stiffness he often carried. When Emma returned, she apologized again. "I didn't know she sent that letter. Things have been difficult. I've been trying my best." Daniel nodded. "You've been doing more than your best." Silence lingered until he added gently, "If you're willing, I'd like to help." Emma's eyes filled instantly with tears. She struggled to blink away. "People don't just help for no reason." "Lily gave me a reason," he said softly. The sincerity in his voice was so genuine it disarmed her. He explained that his company had community assistance programs, job openings, and support services she could benefit from. But beyond that, he offered something more personal: a chance to rebuild, step by step, without fear. Emma didn't answer right away. She looked at her daughter, who gazed back with quiet hope, then at the man who had taken the trouble to knock on their humble door because a child believed in magic. Finally, she nodded. The following weeks transformed everything. Daniel arranged for Emma to interview for a stable administrative role at Harrington Industries, one with regular hours, benefits, and a salary that didn't force her to choose between rent and food. She accepted the job and, for the first time in years, slept without dread. Pulling at her chest, he also made time to visit occasionally, checking on Lily's homework, sharing small gifts like books and art supplies. He never crossed boundaries, never imposed, he simply showed up, quietly, consistently. And slowly, as winter thawed into the first hints of spring, something unexpected and gentle began to blossom. Not romance, not yet, but connection. Grief softened around Daniel's heart. Exhaustion lightened from Emma's shoulders. Joy returned to Lily's laughter. One evening, months later, Daniel knocked on their door again, holding a small potted plant Lily had once said she wanted. As Emma opened the door, he offered a shy smile. "Thought this might brighten the room." Emma smiled, a real smile this time, one that reached her eyes. "We'd love that." Lily ran to him, throwing her arms around his waist, and Daniel froze for just a moment before slowly embracing her back. It felt like something fragile, something healing. In that moment, Emma understood. The letter Lily had written wasn't a wish to a mythical figure. It was a bridge, a simple message from a child that brought a grieving man to their door, and gave all three of them something they thought they'd lost forever.